Hello, have I got anyone joining me this evening? Oops. Sorry guys, I'm just checking to see if I've got any comments here. Hello, have I got anyone joining me? Oh, hi Susan, hi Naomi. Okay, so we've got a couple of people joining in. How are you girls? Just wait a second and then I'm going to get straight into it so that we can get back to doing something else. So hi girls, welcome to another inspirational demonstration with Linda and your inspired art journaling from your creative palette. Hi Robin. Okay, we might get started. We've got the three important people here, so let's get into it. So welcome girls. This week, obviously most of you probably know that Tracy Scott's in Australia, and unfortunately in Brisbane we don't get to see her. So there's lucky people. I know Susan's going on Friday night, I believe, and so lucky her. And so I thought I have actually done a couple of online workshops with Tracy Scott, and you know, I've always enjoyed them and I do like her process. So I thought tonight I might just channel some of her inspiration that she's given me over the time, and all day Friday and Sunday. Well, aren't you lucky, Susan? And so you'll be able to give us lots of inspiration from those workshops. Yeah, so I've done a few of, like I said, I've done a couple of hers, so I will use her. Some of her techniques have been very influential in how I do my backgrounds, and so a lot of I have taken that straight from Tracy Scott. And so tonight I'm going to be using a few stamps, stencils and stuff like that to just create something a little bit, just some tags. So I'll just put this aside, and this probably would have to be my most favourite of her stamps that I have, of which I do have quite a few. Of course, oh, here they are here, sorry. That's a stencil from Tracy Scott that I like to use. I love the little fuchsia ones here. I've used that a couple of times. And something I'm feeling very guilty about is this one here, which is her mark making stamp. I haven't used it. My goodness, how could that possibly happen? But I haven't, and so I thought tonight I am going to crack it open so that I can start using it. And yeah, so let's get cracking. Now, I decided to do a couple of tags because, you know, it's always easy to do it that way. And tonight what I've used is I've actually used watercolour paper from, who is it? Dina Wakeley. Dina Wakeley has the watercolour pads, and it's really, it's actually cotton cloth. And as far as watercolour artists go, the cotton cloth is the best product to use when you're doing your watercolours. But I have bought some of hers and I've had it sitting there, and so this is what I've got here, and it's really stiff. It's 300 GSM, and I have decided, now this one, you can see I don't know if you can see that there, but this one here I've actually put a stencil through with a bit of texture paste. I did that a few days ago, And also with this one, just double checking, this one has got a coat of white gesso underneath. And mostly because I just wanted to show people the difference between, because obviously a watercolour artist would not put gesso on, because the whole purpose is that you want the colours to soak into the substrate. So what I have done, I've done one with gesso and one without. So this one does not have any gesso on. I've also done a background on this because I did it in Lindy's and I wanted it to dry. So I have done that one first, and I'll be showing you some processes later. But this one has no gesso, and so that the Lindy's was able to soak in a little bit. This here is another brand. Can't remember the name of the brand. Just a minute. Sorry, guys. It's this stuff here, Express It. Now, I did get it from Natalie May, and just pulling out the Dina Wakley. So this is the Dina Wakley one, the heavyweight watercolours, and it's like I said, 300 GSM, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I actually like working on this kind of base. But that's what I use, and this is the other one, which is, it's an aqua watercolour paper. It is 300 GSM, but it's not the cotton, okay? It doesn't have the cotton in it, and that's what the watercolour artists love using. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the other one, and that is what I've used on here. So this is the aquarelle paper. Now, I don't know if you can see there's a little bit of texture on there. Let me just pull that up there. Yeah, because I just wanted something subtle. I didn't want to do the texture paste like I've got on here. So this one is actually just a single ply of a tissue. So I grabbed a tissue, pulled them apart like you do with the napkins, and then I just lightly, very lightly, adhered it onto the card with matte medium. But you've got to be ever so soft with it, and I'm trying to crease it as I'm drying it, just so that you get a few little textures in your in the finished product. So that will just help, because I'm going to throw some Lindy's over the top of this, and that will just help to create some texture. So hopefully I might get through the 3 of these, so we'll see how we go, and that is the plan. So what I will do is, like I said to you before, I did this one before because I wanted something that was dry by the time we come to do it, and so I am going to put some Lindy's on here, and I'll go through that process with you guys. Just to make it easier, I've prepared this. Now, I've got all of I've decided I want to use Paper Artsy paints tonight for no real reason, only because I'm doing Tracy Scott, so I thought I'd stick to the same brand, whatever. And so that's why I've got them there. So I will, and I'm not real sure on my colours at the moment, so I've left them all there so that I can work on it. Now, I wanted very subtle backgrounds, as you could see on that one, very subtle, because we're going to be doing some flowers, and I'm going to make them nice and bright. So the colours that I have chosen is, I've got it from the Mermaid Seashells collection, Magicals, and I've chosen the Opal Sea Oats and the Cockle Bells Coral. And so that's what I've used on here. So this one's very goldy, and then you've got a little bit of pink on there as well. So I'm going to do the same on all of these. I did grab out my Manta Ray Grey, because I think I might want to do, in case, because I usually like 3 colours. So we'll see how we go. Sometimes I don't want the Manta Ray Grey to be very deep. just want it to be subtle, so I'm probably mixed too much of this, like I always do. So that's the oats and the coral. Put those two there. And with the sifters, as you all know, this one just, oh, I'll actually, so much sitting in there. I'll just put a little bit in there and we'll see how we go, because it can be quite intense sometimes. All right, so add some water. Is anyone playing along tonight, or you're just sitting watching? Okay, so it's a nice little grey, so we'll see how that goes. I'll just get rid of that because I need to stir these up a bit, so I'll just... That goldy one's quite intense, which is great. And then the coral one has a bit of gold in it as well, so they do blend nicely. Now we'll see how this manta ray goes, because I think it's got more silvery sort of bits in it. But that's okay, it'll be a nice little contrast. So I'll get my, oh, I've got a little bit of watercolour here, so you'll be able to see it going on. So again, I'm just testing my colours like we should do. Okay. Shouldn't sit on. You find that the watercolour, it does help to soak in a little bit. And sometimes with your watercolour paper too, you have two different sides too. So one can be a rougher and one can be the smooth side. So they call it cold press and hot press. And yeah, the manta ray, yes. So you can see it's a nice little blue, and then we've got a little bit of the gold in there as well. So I'm quite happy with those. I think they look quite cute. So I'm just going to put them to the side there. So I'm happy with all of that. And just get myself organised here, because I'm going to shift. Sorry guys, because I want to try and keep this in camera so that you can see what I'm doing all the way through. Push that up, just make sure we're in camera there. And grab this one now. What did I say? This one has the gesso, so it'll be interesting to see how different this one looks compared to this. It may not, you know, I'm not sure, but we're about to find out, aren't we? Okay, so I'm going to grab my super duper 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 big brush. Okay, so here we go. And I'm just going to just willy-nilly, and remember this is the one with gesso, so it will react a bit differently, I'm expecting. Got a couple of little spots there from something else, I'm not quite sure what. Let's bring in some of this pink. So I'm just spreading around with the brush, not doing it in any particular fashion. And just add a bit more onto there. And then let's go into this grey and see what, manta ray grey, and see what happens with that. Hi, Shell. All right, I'll bring that up a little bit. Not sure I like the grey on it, but anyway, that will do. I'll just bring that up so you can sort of see it a little bit. Turn it sideways. Okay. So we'll just let that one dry off a little bit, and I'll just put that there, and I'll go on with this one. Now remember that this is the aquarelle paper, so it might react a little bit differently. Let's see. This is what it's all about. These demos are all about testing these things out. And I just love when it goes over that tissue paper. And, you know, who'd have thought you could use tissue paper as a medium. And if you treat it nicely, it's okay. If you start rubbing too hard, very softly, just put your matte medium over it. And I'm just using up what I've got here because I really don't want to mix up any more. Oops, just stuck my finger straight into there. That's looking a little bit murky, I suppose, with that grey in it. I'm not sure the grey was a good choice, but that's okay because we're going to put lots of stuff over the, you know, embellishments on this. So it is a grey, and you know that maybe it was a good choice, maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure. But okay. Hi, Shari. Oh, the gang's all here now. Awesome. So I've just poured off a little bit there because it's got too much, and so I just let it go onto the plate. So this one here, can you sort of see how it's pooled around the tissue? Now that those girls have just joined in on this card here, I've actually pulled apart a tissue, you know, normal tissue, and it was 2-ply. Hi, Pat. And I've pulled it apart just like you would a serviette, and I've just adhered it to a watercolour substrate, and now I've just put some Lindy's over the top of it, whereas this one was actually gessoed prior to doing anything, and then I added a stencil with some texture paste. Now, even though this one is dry, I did this one earlier because I know this will take a while to dry. Now, I don't know, I might even just as a exercise, might mix up a little bit more, because you have a look at the colour between the colour intensity, and I just want to check to make sure that I haven't gone too easy on this one, because remember, this is the one that I said has no gesso, and this is a watercolour paper, a cotton paper. And Lindy's are just essentially a watercolour that has shimmer. So, you know, it is quite the same as watercolour paints, but you know, most of them have shimmers. But can you sort of see there is a difference in the way that they react, okay? I'm not quite sure what to say about the one that's got the gesso on. It just seems like the gesso is coming through on that one, but as an exercise, I am going to mix up a little bit more. Try not to drag this part on too much, but, well, obviously you can see it needs a lot more. And I might mix it up more intently this time, because maybe that's something you need to consider if you are going to gesso your substrate, that you actually need to mix up heavier amounts of Lindy's if you're using them, because normally you don't need a lot of Lindy's. I won't mix up any more grey, I'll just use what's there. And so those people have just joined too. You'll be able to see at the beginning of the video which particular Lindy's I'm using. I'm using the Mermaid Seashells collection, just a couple from there, and the Manta Ray Grey from the Sifters. Just mix those up a bit. So I've got a good amount there. Get rid of him. You don't want him getting any more. So let's just see how we go. Whether actually what I should do is dry that off. Excuse me for putting on the heat for the moment. I suspect I just mixed up very weak solutions, because this one does not have gesso on it. And it is also very light. So maybe I was just a bit mean in my mixing of... This one doesn't even have any grey on it. I'm not quite sure why that's going like that. Let's see how we go now. So I'm being a little bit more intense with it now. But I'm going to let these dry naturally so that they can absorb the colour more. But it's always an interesting thing to try different substrates, different backgrounds, different whatever, because not all things react the same. Now, I'm being very naughty. I'm not cleaning my brush in between, which I would normally do. Let's get in here, get lots of pink down in here. Let's get this. Probably going to have more gold on this one because I've used up all the rest. So I'm just going to leave that. I still suspect it's not going to be anywhere near as intense as this one here. So this is the no gesso, but this one had no gesso too, so I'm not quite sure. And but anyway, so I'm going to leave those to dry naturally for the moment, and I'm going to work on my flowers. So I'll leave those all there, and I'll put them to the back. And we'll check those out a little bit later so that we can see what's going on. So I just need to tidy up what I've got here for the moment. Excuse me for a minute. Now, because what I'm going to do now is kind of finish with the Lindy's for the time being. Now, this is where I'm going to get messy. Not sure. Okay, so with this lot, now this is where I need to think about what I'm going to do. So obviously I'm going to be doing, these are for the flowers. So what I've got here is I think it's 200 GSM white card, and I'm actually going to, and I've cut it in half because I'm going to put one colourway on here, say like warm colours, and then I might do some cooler colours here. That's why I did a very subtle background, because I didn't want to interfere with the colour palette of the flowers. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. So I've got all my colours out here, and like I said before, I've opted to do paper artsy because I thought I might as well go the whole hog of Tracy Scott type of situation here. Now, so I'm going warm colours here, so I need my reds and my oranges and some yellows. So what I'll do is I'll do 3 colours. So these are the 3 that I've got here. And so I've got Tangerine Twist, Cherry Red, and Firebird. So I'm going to put some of those out, and I'll put that one aside because we'll do him in a minute. I'll turn it sideways, it's just easier for camera. Actually, what I might do is select my cool colours too, so I can get rid of these boxes. A little bit fishy, so that's a blue. I've got Mermaid here, so that's quite a nice little colour there. And I shall probably need a slightly deeper one. How about we go with gum boots? Bora Bora. No, we'll go Bora Bora. I'm running out of Bora Bora, so yeah. I might even grab weathered copper. I'll grab 4 for there because I'm not real sure what I want. Anyway, I'll put these aside for the moment. Give myself a bit more room. let's start off with our orangey colours. Put those there, and I'll bring this in here a bit. So, I mean, a couple of different ways you can do this. I tend to like to put it on, my paint onto the palette there. I'll just move this over more, just so that you can get a good clear picture. Paper Artsy paints, for those that don't know, are a chalk paint. So they won't have the nice shimmer and that kind of thing, or a satin finish like acrylics. They are a chalk base, and so they dry matte. And so it's not everyone's taste. I use them sometimes. I don't use them all the time. But they are nice, and they've got a lovely arrangement of colours. I think most of the ones I've got here are the Tracy Scott's selections. They all have their own brand of paints. Now, this is the part that I love. Some people may not love it, but this is where I get my fingers and I start blending all the colours together. So the idea is I'm going to get these 3 colours, and I'm just going to be smushing them all around onto the card here. So I'll start off with the light colour, which is the yellow, and it's just a matter of just swish, 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 swish. And I'll go over here, just rub it in, and circles around, because you don't want to be too finicky with it, because you'll end up with lots of fingerprints in your colour. Now, don't be afraid to blend it in, okay? Sometimes I'll do a couple of coats of this, because some of these, particularly this tangerine, what is it? The Firebird, they are translucent colours. So a lot of the colours that I've got here are translucent, meaning that you'll see through them. So it sometimes means that you need to do a couple of coats to get the nice effect of colour. Is there anyone out there that likes painting with their fingers, or do they find that a little bit off-putting? Because I know some people don't like to do it. I do wipe my fingers off when I'm about to start a new colour, and then just start smushing it in. And this is another reason why I'll go over it again, just to smush those colours in even more. Now, this is a technique that Tracy Scott does. I mean, she has a very specific way of doing. She likes to do figure eights. She likes to make sure she does figure eights when she's doing it. I tend to do that on the second coat. You're happy to get painted? Good on you, Sherry. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a bit of paint on your fingers. It's good stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, for me, I tend to just get in there and smush around. And, I need a lot more colour on here. And then I get lazy and I don't clean my fingers off properly. So then all of the colours get a bit mushy. And if there's, I should mention too, I haven't gessoed this page. I tend to not, I don't know why, but I don't think she does. I can't remember if she does or not, but I tend to not do that. So, I mean, which is strange, because, I mean, I gesso everything. Bit more colour up there. And so, look, I just keep doing this until I am happy with the result that I've got. And I'm deliberately making sure that I wish into the other colours, because we don't want to see definite, because see this circle here? I don't like that at all. So I need to go in and really make sure that I get rid of that. Now, you have to be careful too sometimes, because sometimes these paints can dry a little quick. What's the name? Art by Marlene paints definitely dry quick when you're doing this, so you can sort of feel the paint bead up under your fingers. So that's when you sort of know it's time to get some more paint on your fingers. And this, and honestly, by the time, because what I'm going to be doing with this is I'm going to stamp the flower patterns over the top of this and then cut them out, and you get some really, really awesome flower effects, florally effects with it. And because now it's a very, very what do you call it, like marbled effect that you get with this. And for my money, I'm sort of finishing off here with the yellow, because I just feel that the yellow brightens up all of the colours. And see, I need to go over that with a bit of yellow and orange, just to push that red back a bit. It's nice to have the red, but you don't want it too overpowering. So I tend to... Now, normally I would do A4 size pages, but because, you know, for the time factor and all that kind of thing, I am just trying to stick to 1 or 2 flowers. So I'm just fixing up my paint palette here because I want to change over to my cool colours. And I'm just going to get a baby wipe so I can wipe my fingers off. The marble effect is absolutely gorgeous, Naomi. This was always my go-to background when I, first learnt it from Tracy Scott, and I just love it. And I need to keep going. I need to go back to it because just have a look at that. That is just so stunning. On a normal day, I'd probably go over that again because I can see some marks that I don't like, but oh God, especially the reds and the yellows are just so awesome. So I'm just going to put that aside to dry off. Clean up my fingers a little bit. So I just really don't want the reds into my blue colours, my blues and greens. Might just turn that over too. Okay, so we'll get back into this. Bring in my next sheet, and so this time I've got maybe I might not use the Bora Bora, because we need something with a bit of stroke. If I was doing an A4 size, yes, I would definitely have the 4 colours, but because we're only doing little half sheet, I will keep it low key. Alright, so let's keep it to those 3 and just see how we go. So again, we'll start off with the light colour and just smush, smush, smush. And so you can sort of see I'm not just going in a circle one way, I do go the other way. I might not always do the figure 8 like she talks about, but I'm close to it. Okay, so then I'll come over here. I usually start off with 3 spots. And I try to make sure that there's 3 spots in all the colours and space them out evenly. But as you see, it becomes so mottled, it doesn't really matter. So now I'll go into the blue colour, and I'll bring that in here. And so then I'll take it up over to there. Beautiful colours. Bought a lot of these particular colours when I was down in Adelaide for the retreat, and took a list of what I had because I knew I needed some extras. And Seth Apter, he has a lovely range of paper artsy paints as well, so it's worth having a look, because he does a lot of sort of grungy type work, so it's worth checking out his. Now I've got a lot of spaces here. I haven't done this very well, but anyway, we'll work with it. Whoa, look at this, awesome, nice and bright. So if you use, stick to either the cool colours or the warm colours, you won't have an issue with things turning brown. So even though, they're different strengths of colour, they're still in that same family. These colours have all got the blue in it. Okay. This colour's got a bit of yellow in it as well, but it's looking good. But it still blends. Put a little bit down the bottom here. They are pretty colours. And girls, I'll try to, thanks Shari, I'll try to keep an eye on the comments, but forgive me if I do forget. Now, I might go back in here. We need a bit of this colour in here. Back in here, so now you can see I'm smushing all of this, and you don't want to get too carried away that you smush it all. You do need some contrasting colours, see, because I've lost a lot of that green in there, and that's okay. We can always build it back in. Let's just build a bit of contrast in here. You can do this kind of effect with a brush. I don't think it's as successful, but there's nothing better than getting your fingers dirty. And so you can already sort of see, I'll bring up, because not that I'm finished by any means, but you can sort of see how it's starting to marble on this side here, as opposed to this side that, that you've got distinct colours here where you've got that marbled sort of effect. Oh, sorry, fingerprint there. Marbled sort of effect where the colours are merging into each other. So we'll just keep that momentum going. And I do find two fingers work better than one. And now I'm at that stage where I'm mixing the colours up and that sort of thing, so it then becomes a bit murkier as well. So Susan, I'll be very, very interested. I know you'll show us what you do on the weekend, because I'll be very interested to see what activities, bits that you do. Get a bit more green in there. I feel like I'm losing my green a little bit in here. It's very hard to not get your fingerprints from your other hand on it too. Run out of green. Just put a little bit of green out. I'm almost finished this, but I just feel I need a little bit more green. The green is, well, it's semi-opaque. Seems to be the one that's disappearing most. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. These two are opaque, which is why it's overtaking. Okay, fair enough. That's why. That's a good thing with the paper artsy paints, is that you've got the three different strengths of colours to transparent, translucent, semi-opaque and opaque. Obviously that you can see right through that one. That one you can see a little bit, and then this one you can hardly see through it at all. And yeah, so that'll be good too. All right. Oh, Susan said, oh, Michelle's going to be there, is she? Oh, okay, good. Awesome. All right, stop playing around, Linda. Stop playing around. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, look, you know, I probably would prefer to work it in more, but, you know, I could be here all night doing that. But we'll leave it at that because it is going to be cut up, stamped and cut up, so that you're not necessarily going to sort of see it much anyway. And I've just decided I don't want too much green for the flowers, so I've decided to swish it out a little bit. Okay, that'll do me. Okay. It's also too, my hands have got so much paint on, I'm not doing a good job of painting. I should be cleaning my fingers off. All right, I'm happy with that. Okay. Right, so we'll leave that to dry too. So again, just excuse me while I clean my hands off again. It might pay to put, before you do this, do as I say, not as I do. Put a bit of barrier cream maybe on, hello Tina. Put a bit of barrier cream on your fingers before you do it. However, you know, if it's, you don't want anything too greasy because you don't want oil coming out onto your paper. But sometimes a barrier cream will help to get paint, you know, remove the paint when you need it. All right, so we'll just let that dry off a little bit. Okay, and I'll just put that aside there. Let's bring back our, they're still wet. Just move that over there a bit. They're still wet. I will take him off because I can do something with him in a minute. Yep, so you can see they're still wet and they're not as intense as this one. I did that a couple of hours ago, that one, so I don't know, maybe it'll dry differently. But, yeah, interesting to see how those different effects. So I will put those back there. And, oops. So, okay, now I might get, what I might do is, I should have some light ink here now. My preference is to use the ink. You could use acrylic paints. Okay, you just want something a little bit more fluid. If any of you are out there who do what do you call that stuff? Resin with the fluid paint, you can use those. I mean, might have a great range, but you could use those because they flow. They've got a lot more flow. And oops, sorry guys, just knocked my water thing off my trolley. Yeah, they have a nice flow about it. So, because what I'm going to do is I'm put a bit of water on here, and remembering that our Lindies have a certain amount of permanency, so, you know, it shouldn't affect this too much. Do realise, though, do understand that sometimes when you use, like, your mediums, your matte mediums or your texture pastes and that kind of thing, that can shift your Lindies. But generally you're okay with it. So what I'm going to do, I'm using Liquitex ink. This is titanium white. It is an acrylic ink. So it's just acrylic paint put into an ink as an ink form. So I'm going to use just the little dropper, and I might just do that there. Now, because I've wet it, I'm hoping I will get some drips. Okay, not as much dripping as I like, so you can just spray it lightly just to get some. Put that there. I just want to get something happening over the now you can see that some of the Lindy's is shifting. Okay, so I'm not going to put too much more water on there. I'm kind of happy with that. I probably would have preferred so this time I will go this way because I want some of that dripping to come. Now I am using the 300 GSM watercolour paper, so it's got a good stiffness. I don't want to wet it too much, but I'm kind of happy with that. You know, I just wanted something a little bit subtle, so I'll just stick with this one for the moment because the other two haven't dried. Bear with me for a minute, I just want to dry this off, so it won't be a moment. Alright, so I'll just bring that up, and you can see that the white acrylic has merged in with the pink on the Lindy's. So that's given me a nice little sort of merged or grungy, well, I'll say grungy, but that kind of effect. And right, so now what I will do is I've got my I'm fairly sure this is Tracy Scott too. It's definitely paper artsy, but I'm fairly sure it was a Tracy Scott stencil. Something to do with crosses. I haven't got the package anymore, so I can't sort of really tell you. It's been nicely used. Sometimes I'm just not very good with cleaning my stencils. That's okay. All right. Okay. So I shall get a, sorry guys, I'm sort of thinking on the run here. Just getting a wedge, a makeup wedge, and I'm just trying to work out which one. I'll probably cut out these for this one here. So I've got the yellows and the reds there. So I think I will do the opposite. We used that, didn't we? So I might use this one, the Bora Bora. I didn't use that before. So I just want to do a bit of a contrast to what I did before. And have I got that in camera? So I'm just going to put some stenciling over. It won't be terribly, it might actually look a little bit dirty too because of the colour that's underneath, but that's okay. It's going to be covered up with some bright flowers. Always try to take my stenciling out to the edge. No, I've kind of gone around the outside of it. I'm not going to do the whole thing. All right, lift that off. Okay, so I've just done a little bit, of stenciling there, just to add a little bit of interest for when we put our flowers on. So there's a little bit of contrast there. I mean, it could look okay with that, but it just blends in too much. I'll probably do something like the orange for when I do these flowers here. Okay, so we'll just make sure that that's dried off a little bit. Now, let's dig out that, where is it? Let's dig out my Tracy Scott mark making stamp. Now, the last time I looked, I'm fairly sure that Nat still has this, but then she's had the sale, so I checked last week, it was there, but I couldn't tell you if it's still there this week. Oh, I'll go with some words because I love words. Might go with this one, a bit interesting. Anyway, look, I've had this for a long time and I haven't used it, and I'm ashamed of myself for admitting that. I might, and what I love about it is that it's got that lovely stitched stamp on it too. Where is the stitched one? There it is there. Oh, there you go. I have used it. There you go. I've used the stitched one before. So that's interesting. I'm going to use the running stitch on this one. Okay. Let me get my archival ink. And this goes up that way. I'll tell you what I usually do. I'll show you. Oh, there it is. I usually look at which way it goes, and then I just put a little arrow so that I know which way it's meant to go. When it's writing, it's important. Obviously, for other marks, it's not important. I might just dab that off there. Beautiful. Problem with me is I don't know when to stop when I'm doing this sort of thing. Mostly because I just love words. Stop. Okay. So a little bit of words on there. Good. Subtle. Also got some dots. They look a little bit like binary dots from computer binary dots. So let's see for something different. These days I don't seem to use a stamping block anymore. Not too much of that. Alright, that'll do for that. And I'm doing this, I don't know what I'm doing, putting this one on, but anyway. A few little lines, let's go a few lines up. There you go, that'll do. Probably way too much, but that's okay. So a few little mark making stamps on there. So what I will do now, because I do, of course I've gone too far, I again with my white ink, put that out, grab a fine, you usually don't need to wet your brush when you do this because the ink is just quite very fluid. Particularly where I've got my ink, stamping, I'll make sure I put a few, because I think the dots are a little bit heavy. I really must bring my sewing machine down to the studio because I'd love to bring some sewing into my journaling again. I used to do it a lot. But it's because it's upstairs and not here with me. Even though a lot of that's going to be covered up with the flowers. But again, I feel a little bit happier that I've put the white on there now because I just feel it just pushes back that stamping a little bit, and even the crosses. So if you feel like you've overdone something, just put a bit of spattering and just really concentrate on the area that you think, oh God, have I overdone that? Oops. All right, so just leave it at that. Thank you, Naomi. Yeah, I like it too. I probably could have gone for a lighter colour with, you know, maybe this mermaid colour instead of the crosses. However, you know, I've still got to put some of these beautiful bright flowers on. So, you know, I think the flowers are going to take your eye away from all of that. It just at the moment it looks a lot because you can see it. So I'll just put those up there. And I'll just put that aside for the minute and it can dry off. Now, please don't judge me with my stamp pad here. I tried to clean it off before it got here, but anyway, it didn't work. So, where is... sorry, I'm just getting my stamp. Sometimes it's a bit hard in here because I have to sit in the dark when I'm doing these. It can be a bit hard. So, we're not going to get a lot of flowers because we've only got the half sheet, but you'll get the idea. I'll probably get one or two. I'll probably get one of the big one and two of the little flowers, okay? And then I'll do a couple of these stems so that we can just make a little bit of a floral arrangement. But anyway, so I'm just going to put this down. I won't put too much tape down because the paint's probably... Oh, did you? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Susan's saying she's been using the sewing machine. I think it's an underused medium. Like I say, a few years ago I used to do a bit of sewing with it. But I also did a lot of hand sewing too. And so... yeah, I'd like to do more because it just adds a little bit to it, even if it's just a straight sewing line. Right, so let me concentrate on that. I'll put that there. I'll put that there. Just trying to utilise as much as I can, because I don't have a big space. Okay. Okay, so let's get our... hopefully my stamp pad's okay because I juiced it up the other day. Alrighty, so let's see how I go. Got a sore shoulder at the moment, so my pressing down is probably not as effective as what it would normally be. That's okay. Alright, I'm kind of happy with that. I can... in there. Yeah, I can fill that in. Alright, so what I might do is just turn this around. I tend to put a little bit of tape because you know, I just don't want anything moving while I'm doing this. I mean, the magnets work well. I tell you when I do use this is when I'm using funky fossil stamps, because they are so powerful. It's great, but they do lift it up, so if you have to redo it, it makes it a bit hard. Okay, so standing up so I can get some pressure onto this. I probably shouldn't have to push this hard, but beautiful. Okay, so I've got a few flowers there, so that'll do. It's got a couple of leaves on it, so that's okay for me for what we're doing tonight. I don't want to overdo it. How are we going for time? Gosh, it's 8:30 already. Goodness me. All right, just like that. I might only be doing one tag tonight by the look of it. Okay, so what I will do is get mine. I just want to I think I've got, let's try this one. Sometimes I find your paint pens won't work on one thing, but they'll work on another. I think everything else is kind of okay. Yep. So I'm just going to burst that with a bit of heat so I can... Now, one thing that I will do while I'm here is grab a bit of this screen paint, because obviously I've got a few leaves on here. Oh, look at that. I've just stuck that in there. Actually, I've got, let's see what I've got here. Got a little bit of paint there. Hope you can sort of see that. So I am just going to, oh no, too much water on it. Didn't wipe the brush off properly. I'll put some more paint out. Probably need a couple of coats. I just want to make that a little bit green because it is actually a leaf. But I'll dry it off and put another coat on. I probably should have put white on first. That's a painting tip if you're wanting to change the colour of something, because like particularly with these reds underneath, you should always do a coat of white and dry that off, and then it's so much easier to paint a different colour over. I'll fix up these lines after in a minute. Bit rough and ready, but that's okay. I shall just dry that off. I can always add more paint later if I need to. Probably should put, I might even paint pen that. You know, I could have even paint penned the colour. Could have coloured it with paint pen, sorry. Goodness me, my English. Alright, so that will do. If I don't like it later, I can always put paint. Hi, Leslie. Have you been to see that gorgeous grandson of yours yet Leslie? You You should be proud of him. He looks like he's really coming along nicely. Okay. Go over that now because I can't stand looking. That like that. Okay. Alrighty. So, what I will do now is just very quickly, so I think they're looking pretty good at the moment, so I'm just going to very quickly cut these out. So it looks like I'll probably only get one done tonight. That's okay. The main thing is I wanted you to see the technique of the substrate, the background, and how effective that can be. The rest of it you'll understand. And I will finish off those other two and put them up later. Being a bit fussy there now. So just very roughly going around. You don't have to be too precise unless you're into that kind of thing. But I don't even mind if some of the yellow comes around, the orange, the background colour comes onto the petals, because I'll probably distress around the edges of these, so it doesn't matter if I don't cut it exactly perfectly. And I probably will get like a brown paint pen to do the dots in the middle, or bright yellow or something, but probably a brown and a bit of yellow or something like that, just to colour those in. But it's absolutely stunning when you sort of see, with very little effort, look at the beautiful colours that are in that flower. I just think it's a fantastic technique for doing flowers or, things like that. Dare I say, it looks so organic and gorgeous. Because, I've got daisies. I've got a daisy here that's got some beautiful colours on it. And this technique always reminds me of them. And that's just natural in... but they have... I've got orange and blue daisies. And they look stunning. So that's the kind of effect that I'm trying to achieve here, even though I'm using the same colourway. So who thinks they'll give this technique a bit of a nudge and have a go at it, because it really is great. And I don't know if you've seen my lives before, or you've done workshops with me. I have done this kind of background, and usually what I do with this background is then I stencil over the top, but I'll stencil 3 or 4 layers, and so to push some of those colours back. So that's another technique I love to do with this. But I always start off with this space, and like Nat does a similar sort of thing with brushes. So what she does with the dry brush is a similar sort of thing, only she's using a brush instead of the fingers. And you get pretty much a similar sort of, you've got more control over it when you're using the brush. That's what I kind of like about this, is it is organic, if you want to call that word. But yeah, it depends. Not everyone likes to get their fingers dirty, and I understand that. So that's where you will use the brush to get a similar sort of effect. This shouldn't take me too long to do this. And then I'll just assemble my tag that I've got started, and then I'll complete the other two tomorrow or sometime over the next couple of days. And these are so cute. You could add more colours to it if you wish, but you know, I don't think it's necessary. It's one of those things, keep it simple. And you're more likely to do again if you keep it simple. The more complicated you make it, the more unlikely you are to redo it. So keep it simple. And that's where I say just with your fingers. Oh, okay. Bye-bye, Naomi. Yep, I'll talk to you soon. Yeah, so, yeah, give it a go. Really do give it a go, because it's so good. Now, I have used poetic license, artistic license, I suppose, here. You know, I haven't cut right round the lines. I've left some coloured space, particularly up here, because I don't want to lose, you know, chop the stem off. So I tend to go outside the lines there. Then just colour it in black if I need to. Hope I'm still on camera here, am I? Yep. So stay tuned. Apparently I think there's some shows on the weekend. So keep an eye out for that. The International Craft Show, or whatever it is. I think there's something happening with that this weekend. Right, there we go. It was a boring 10 minutes of your life you won't get back. Okay, so we've pretty much utilised most of that. And, right, so now I've got a few little flowers, okay? And I might not use all of these. I might use, say, one big one and two little ones or something like that. So let's get, what have I done with this thing here? Something else that I've done too, I don't know. Do I want to put that on it? Something else I've got here somewhere. This is my, yeah, I don't know if I'll do that because it's, now that I think about it, I won't put that on, but, oh, I don't know, let's see. There's our stems, so we'll put, this is the part I hate because I could, you know, I'll sit here and fiddle and fiddle and fiddle. And, anyway. Just going to make up a stem for that big flower. That'll do, something like that. Let that dry off for a bit because I want a stem to come out from that flower so he doesn't look so. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I shall get, okay, I've got a brown paint pen here, so I will, oh, I don't know if you can see that, brown paint pen, so I'm just going to start, won't necessarily do all all of it, but can you sort of see what I've done there? No, camera's not picking up. No, not picking up, but maybe on this big one. I'm not doing all of them. I don't mind a few of those little ones coming through. Okay, so I'm just doing that while I'm waiting for that stem to dry. Done too much there. If I've done too much, well then can go back in with my black and draw around them. Don't do that, Linda, while it's wet. It does show up better on the bigger ones. Okay, so that's just a brown paint pen that I have. Okay, so I might leave that on there just as a bit of contrast. It probably isn't. This was a die cut that I purchased from Nat. So it's in like one of her own products. So look it up under Natalie May products if you like it. I quite liked. I just loved how thin and delicate it is. But I might put that there, something like that. So I will glue that on now while I'm at it. Just going to glue it straight down onto. So I won't keep you long now, guys. I'll just do this one and then I can do the others. And so I'm just putting it on the crossover points, not going through all the lines. So long as it's got some parts where it's can be anchored, and I'll just put that. Just leave that there. Okay. So that will be enough to hold that. Oops. All right. So now let's have a look. So I've got that. Here's my stem. So I shall just quickly cut that out. Just so that my flower's got something to anchor to. Okay, it'll probably be hidden, that's okay. So at least now I've got that, and then that he's got a stem there. Just put that on while I'm waiting. Oh. If I put it there, then I can make it longer. Yeah, it is a great die for card. I like the fact that it's so fine, and I think you could do lots of nice things, like you say, with your cards. Susan, you're absolutely right. Okay, so was I going to put anything else? No, I think I'll just leave it at this for now. And where's this one? I'll put him down. I mean, I'm not a card maker, but yeah, I'll just, oh gosh, it's very hard for me to put these things. That's kind of how I want it, and then I'll put those couple little flowers there somehow. And so what I will do is I'll take this one. And I'm just going to, and I'll even make sure it comes over the edge a bit, because I do like that coming off the edge. No, not put enough there. Okay, and then I'll put this one on. just going to put in the middle there. I can always put more glue on it if I need to, but I just want to, just want to put that, something like that. I'll put that there like that. Before I do, I'm just absolutely in love with all this stuff. I first used this with Farrell Taylor from Stemperia, I should say. And yeah, you just buy it from the $2 shop. And I come across it the other day and I thought, oh yes, might even go back and get some more. So I'm just going to put a bit of a I'm just going to lay some of this stuff. Sometimes I staple it on. Thanks, Shell. Yeah, the flowers are gorgeous, aren't they? They really are. And, you know, I mean, I haven't done anything really, any real technical stuff to create them. They've just come out of me rubbing bits and pieces everywhere. And here's me getting myself all... Actually, I won't put that there. Grab another little bit. You just rub it all together so you can kind of control it a little bit because it's all over the place. Then you can start bringing it apart. And quite often, if I can, I'll staple it to the page. So I'm just going to, let's see, I think that's too much. I'm just going to sort of jimmy a bit there. So I'll just hold that down for a bit and then I'll put the flower over the top. Yeah, so I'll put him like that there. See, do I be gluing down? Because I'm being impatient. Now what I'll do is cover up a few of these little, even if I cover up that, now I've got stuff all over me. Yeah, and you can trim it off and all that sort of thing as you want. Got a little bit more here. Why not use it all? I've got it here. So it looks wild and woolly at the moment, but I'll give it a haircut later on. So just wanted to push that down, let it catch. And look, you know, excuse me, at another time I probably would have done, say, the two different lots of flowers. I could have done these same flowers in the other colour, and then you could have a lovely little arrangement of flowers on here so that they don't look all the same. And you could, you know, just leave some, make sure you do some white as well. So I'll give him a bit of a haircut. Whoops, not too much, Linda. Alright, that'll do. I'll cut it later if I need to. But that is that. Now, something else I was going to, because I was going to put, I wasn't going to get too carried away with this tonight, but I've lost my Excuse me for a minute. Okay, stop looking, I found it. I've got these inspirational cards. This is a studio light, and they're good. They come in black, white, and little turquoisey. Ooh, turquoisey colour. Okay. Now what was I? Okay. Whoops. Let's see. There's all sorts of things here. I shan't. Be brave enough to be yourself. I thought I saw some big ones here. Is it only in the... Mustn't be in... I don't know. What's this? Oh, okay. They've got letters there as well that you can make up your own. Okay, let's just find something... the same old. Everyone says this. Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. We'll go with that, for want of a better thing. So I've got these little tags here, and I actually got this from Officeworks. They're actually study notes. So the kids, when they're sort of doing study, so they come on a ring. So I thought I'd use those. So wherever, I was going to put some Lindy's on it, but I won't at this point. Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. Oh, gosh, I should try and... My apologies if it's not exactly... If I had another little... Anyway, don't panic, Linda. So what I was going to do is just anchor. I mean, this could have some more embellishments on it, but I shall just stick with this because I want to give you guys a chance to go to bed. And I probably should cut it down, but that's okay. So what I will do is... To me it just looks plain, it needs something, so I'll just make up my own little flower here. There we go. I'll do one quickly on the other side. There we go. It's not so plain anymore. Alright, so I was just going to tuck that in underneath there, and I'll... Oh, yeah, I'm just about finished, Karen, but of course you know you can always go back to watch it. But, so I will adhere that onto there. So, you know, like I won't do the other one because, well, it is 9 o'clock and I don't want to hold you up much longer. But look, that's just a very simple tag that I've done there. And again, I just wanted to show you the beautiful background that I learnt from Tracy Scott, and how you can make beautiful effective flowers and without too much effort. But anyway, I'll glue that on, and I will finish off those others in the next couple of days, and I'll add them onto the site as well. So thank you, everyone. I hope that has inspired you to give that technique a go. And or the people, Susan and anyone else who may be going to see Tracy Scott in the next few days, make sure you have a wonderful time and do share what you do with her, because I would really, really love to see it. Okay, so thanks guys, and thank you Robin, and good night everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you for stopping by.